Hello, and welcome back to the State of the Fandom. I am your host, and the host with the most. My name is Dr. Neil Fox, and I am your president for life of time and space, democratically elected, of course. And your future president in 2029, if all goes well.
Yes.
Here with me, as always, is...
Link Labrador.
Link Labrador, Sir Labrador, first of his name. Now, Sir Labrador, you were just telling me about your philosophy of what is going to happen in America over the next few years, and I thought this would be something that our listeners would be greatly interested in hearing.
Yes. Now, my philosophy of what's going to happen in the next few years, and the philosophy of why things are what they are currently.
Yes.
And I am going to start with the analogy of California.
Yes, absolutely. California is a
Now,
good... hold on one second. California is a good place to start because it has been both Republican and Democrat in recent years. Now, it's been Democrat for the last 2 decades or so, but as recently as Ronald Reagan, which was not that long ago, you had a Republican governor of California who then got elected to be the Republican president.
Yes. Now, I'm going to put politics aside for a moment.
Oh, incredible.
And start with my analogy of the state of the nation and the state of California.
Sure.
And why California is suffering so many catastrophic fires, catastrophic mudslides.
Okay.
And it comes down to land management.
Oh,
now, the land management of California used to be taken care of by the Native American tribes for many, many hundreds of years.
That's true.
And you know what they did? Controlled burns. They wouldn't allow debris to build up. They allowed fire. And they allowed fire in the elements to help with the land management. Now, since the rocket scientists and legendary geniuses who live in California go, we can't do that. That's bad for the environment. You people are fucking morons.
Yeah.
Now, society as a whole goes through these ebbs and flows of self-cleansings from time to time. Sometimes in the literal sense of burning down buildings. Sometimes in the stand your ground and peaceful protest. And
Sure.
we're just going to keep showing them that we are going to be peaceful.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Now, the peaceful protest is the way to go.
Absolutely.
Now, getting back down to the California example.
Yes. Fuck California.
And California is a wonderful, lovely place.
It is. That's true. When I say fuck California, I'm not saying that because I hate the people. I do not hate the people of California. I do hate many of the politicians of California who have royally screwed over their constituency. Not the least of which being Kamala Harris, who was the secretary of, what was it?
Oh my god, she was the secretary of the Justice Department.
Yes, the head of the Justice Department of California.
Who, ironically, imprisoned more people.
People of color, specifically.
More people of color. Because clearly she's not racist.
Oh, no. Of course not.
Of course not. And, what's her polling numbers again among the black and colored communities of society? Probably not very good.
I don't know. Unfortunately, many people do not look at the facts and rather just look at the politics.
It reminds me of my ex-mother-in-law.
Yes.
She said, Kamala Harrison's so great at her job. She's so amazing.
Since when?
I don't know. And then I asked her, what's amazing about her? She's a woman.
Oh my god.
Just because she has a vagina makes her instantly amazing at everything she does?
Now, to play slight devil's advocate.
I'm not done.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Now, just because you're a woman doesn't instantly make you amazing at everything. Just because you're a man doesn't make you immediately amazing at everything.
Yes.
There's nuances in life.
Yes.
You could be a woman I don't care if you have a penis or a vagina in this world. That doesn't matter to me. I want to see your track record.
Absolutely.
I want to see your abilities.
Yes.
I want to see what you stood for.
Well, and your ideas should be able to stand for themselves. This is something that I think is so important, especially for our political campaign, is my ideas. I want to be able to stand up in front of other people's ideas, and for me to be able to prove them with logic and rhetoric.
Yes.
With logic and reason.
And myself, I would much prefer if we could sit down, have a conversation, throw the hardballs at each other.
Absolutely.
And everyone walks away with a reasonable point of view.
Yes.
You don't need unqualified idiots screaming at each other. We've tried that for 100 years. It clearly hasn't gotten us anywhere.
What do you mean? Two people who don't know what they're doing, talking to each other for hours on end? But doesn't that make for great television?
No, it doesn't. C-SPAN doesn't get any views.
No, it does not.
NPR gets more views than C-SPAN.
That's probably true. I have not looked at the numbers, but that is probably true.
The only reason why Fox News, ABC, Fox News, NBC, CBS, ABD, whatever the fuck they're called these days, the only reason why these corporations still have anything worthy of talking about is they go and they look at the other guy. Oh, look at that guy. Look at that guy. He's so bad at his job. He's terrible. He's awful. Look at that guy. Look at that guy. He's so bad at his job. He's terrible. He falls up the stairs. It's so funny. I'm like, guys.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
See, and...
I'm not done.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Both of you. We get what you're doing.
Mm.
The educated individuals here don't pay attention to your radio, don't pay attention to your TV program.
Yeah.
The View. You appeal to morons!
Ed, the thing is that
I'm
not by design.
Exactly. You appeal to morons and you go, oh, I am Whoopi Goldberg. I have no reason talking about politics, but I'm going to talk about politics. Okay. So, where are the journalists here? Where's journalistic integrity?
Journalistic integrity on daytime TV. Yeah, good luck with that.
Here's where you find journalistic integrity.
Mm.
The talk radio programs.
Oh, God. Well, some people would disagree with you, but that is fair to an extent, especially on places like NPR. One of the reasons why NPR is such a good radio source and such a good news source is because it is publicly funded. It doesn't have the profit motive that a CNN or a Fox News or a New York Times has.
Exactly. You mean the New York Slimes?
Jesus.
Oh, how many awards have they gotten? And then it turns out that what they were reporting on was wrong. How often does that happen?
I'm sure it happens frequently.
It happens all the fucking time. New York Slimes.
Jesus.
Thank you, Sean Hannity.
You're welcome.
I'll be quoting you quite a bit.
I'm sure you will. So if we can reel back the
I'm not done.
The anger just a little bit.
I'm not done.
Let me speak, please. Take some deep breaths. Take some deep breaths. We need to reel it back just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Okay.
So let me speak for just a moment, all right?
Yeah.
So the thing that I see, and this is part of the thing that you're getting to, I think, but the thing that I see that is most toxic on both sides, and I am not, to be clear, I am not talking about just Fox News. I'm not just talking about CNN. I'm not just talking about one side or the other. On both sides, you have polarization to the point of absurdity.
Yes.
And you brought up a really interesting point. If you could be the farthest right person, you can be the farthest left person, and you can pick out examples all day long of this politician, this state senator in North Dakota, they're so stupid. Oh, he tried to make a law to make ink pens illegal. So stupid. Now, here's the thing. As a statistician, it is very important to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Because, and as Fox News and CNN and New York Slimes and all of these different publications can tell you, you can go and make a near infinite number of news stories about how stupid the other side is. And by doing that, you make yourself look smart.
Agreed.
And it is very unfortunate that this has become such a common tactic, because if the other side is quote-unquote evil and quote-unquote stupid, then you don't have to prove your side is right.
No, don't.
And this is very destructive to democracy itself, because there are many people that vote for many different reasons. But unfortunately, you have a common problem among all political races in America right now. And that is the problem of the politicians are getting less and less popular, but they are getting reelected at higher and higher rates. And so if a person is, 10% popular in their district, and yet has gotten reelected 7 times, what does that tell you?
That means people aren't paying attention.
Not necessarily. So, again, it's polarization is the problem.
Yes.
So, for example, let's assume that you are, I don't know, some very polarizing figure. You could be a Ted Cruz on the right. You could be a Nancy Pelosi on the left. You could be, the side of the political aisle doesn't matter. But you are let's say you are a polarizing figure. Okay?
Yep.
Ted Cruz does not have to worry about getting ousted from his seat by a Democrat. Nancy Pelosi does not have to worry about getting ousted from her seat by a Republican. Yeah, good luck getting a Republican voted into office from San Francisco. Good luck.
Not happening.
If you would like to try, I would love to see you fail. That is just not going to happen in the current political climate. And so, the opponent that they are facing is from their own party. So what that means is that they are not facing off against an opponent with opposing ideas. They are facing off against a radical or a centrist from their own party. So they're either facing off against someone who is farther left or farther right from them. And so, what this tends to do is it tends to get people elected who are more and more and more and more radical to one side or the other. And anyone who follows politics even a little can see that we have gone from, relatively, maybe not even on the world stage, relatively
moderate to
relatively moderate from the perspective of U.S. politics, not from the perspective of the EU or Australian politics or whatever.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
An Australian politician would look at the United States and say, oh my God. But from the perspective of U.S. politics...
Let me fill you in. I have a few Australian friends.
Sure.
And even they say, Australia is basically just a mini version of America. Even crazier.
Jesus.
They call it Oz-America over there.
Jesus. I hadn't heard that. That's funny.
Yeah.
But the point that I'm trying to get to is we have reached a point that is completely untenable, unsustainable, unworkable for everyone, not just the people, but the people in power as well.
Yeah.
Do you think that Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or Nancy Pelosi or Mitch McConnell or whoever, do you think they want to be in the position that they're in? Where they can't do the things that they want to do? Like, I may vehemently disagree with Mitch McConnell, but there is no doubt that he would prefer to go down in history as the person who passed such and such bill, and not the person who stopped such and such bill from happening. We're going to take a commercial break. And we are back. I hope that you enjoyed that sponsor break. Hopefully, many happy returns of that sponsor to our program.
Yes.
And
that sponsor was?
I don't know. It's depends on who sponsors us, my dear.
You good point.
We had to take a little break there because someone is shooting off fireworks outside, and it sounded a little bit like gunshots. So don't want to mess around with that. So I have said my piece, which in summary is we are at a breaking point.
We are at a flashpoint here in the United States.
I don't know anyone who would disagree with that. Again, you could be right, you could be left, you could be center, you could be on the moon. I don't care. I don't think anyone can honestly look at the situation that our country is in and say, oh, that's working so well. 8% inflation, just fine. Bunch of people storming the Capitol building, whatever.
It was the most surreal thing that I had ever witnessed.
Okay, we're gonna talk about January 6th. I literally saw it happening, and the feeling that I had was just this sinking feeling in my gut, like, of course this would happen. This is the result. This is the only thing that could result from everything that has happened so far. And it's awful. It's awful to see something like that happening and say, how could this happen in my country? And at the same time to say to myself, well, this is the only thing that could happen based on these factors. So that's how I felt about it. How did you feel about it?
To be honest, I was high on legal weed at the time. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
I'm like, the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Guys.
Well, and when I say it's the only thing that could happen, let me clarify that, because a lot of people will probably hear that and say, oh, well, how can you possibly say that? Like, it was such an outrageous thing. And, yes, it was outrageous. But if a person sincerely believes that the election was stolen, if they sincerely believe that, then why wouldn't they storm the Capitol? And, a person like myself, who is a student of history and a student of, free and fair elections and all that, looks at it and says, well, I am not, omniscient, so I do not have all of the answers by any means. But I can look at the evidence and I can say, well, it is likely, more likely than not, at the very least, that the election was conducted in a free and fair and open way. Now, that may not be true, but that is the evidence that I have seen. And so, to me, saying, oh, the election was stolen, to me, that's just Mr. Trump being stupid and working his fan base, his base, working them up into a frenzy to try to, ironically enough, overturn the election in his favor.
Yes.
This is something that is very common in psychology, and it actually explains a lot of behavior. Not just Mr. Trump's behavior, but it explains a lot of behavior in general.
Agreed.
No, hold on.
I'm yes-anding.
Here is the behavior that it explains, okay? Generally speaking, and this is not always the case, but we're talking about a rule of thumb here. You can always come up with, counterexamples. But generally speaking, people see in other people the flaws that they hate about themselves. And let me say that again, because it's a relatively complicated psychological topic. People see in others the flaws that they hate in themselves. And of course, Mr. Trump's psychology is exceptionally obvious to anyone. But when he says things like, I'm the only one who can fix it, and then he does nothing while in office, he wants to be the person who can fix it. He knows that his audience wants him to be the person that can fix it. Or to use, when I say flaws, it doesn't necessarily have to be a flaw. It could be an aspiration that someone wants that they see in other people. So, for example, I am a narcissist. It is, I freely admit that is a flaw. However, it is part of my character, and the only thing that I can do is try to be as unobtrusive with it as possible and to use it for good instead of evil. But it is very obvious to me, as a narcissist, it is very obvious when other people are narcissistic. Like Mr. Trump, for example, is exceptionally narcissistic. And I see it and I go, oh my God, it's so annoying. So frustrating. How could he be this way? And then I look at my own behavior and I'm like, I do kind of like attention a lot.
Yeah.
So anyway.
You do.
And, again, I would like to use this power for good rather than evil. But, like I said,
you're using your power for good.
I try. I do not always succeed, but I try. People see in others the flaws that they hate in themselves. And so you'll see someone who is vain, for example. They will point out other people who are vain.
You probably think this song is about you.
Oh my God. Or someone who is someone who has anger issues. They will look at other people and go, that person is so angry. Why are they so angry? people see the flaws in other people that they don't like about themselves. Anyway, I think that this is one of the reasons why we have had so much trouble in this country of creating positive political change. Because we have so many people, and again, not on one side of the aisle, on both sides, saying, that guy is evil. If you don't believe in a woman's right to choose, you're evil. If you don't believe in right to life, you are evil. And the simple fact is that. But let's take the right to choose as an example, because it is an exceptionally charged issue.
Almost by design.
Almost so.
My own personal views on the right to life is, you have the right to make what's right for you and your family. It doesn't involve a fucking politician.
Yes! Oh my God.
Whatever the decision is between you, your doctor, and whatever God you believe in.
Correct!
Keep the politicians out of the debate.
Yes. And the thing that is important to me, as a statistician, as a scientist, is to focus on the facts.
Yes.
And here are some facts that are relevant to, the recent decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Here are the facts. In states that have more restrictive abortion laws, generally speaking, the number of abortions does not go down.
No.
The abortions just become more dangerous. And in addition, what is the type of person who generally gets an abortion, whether a legal or illegal one? It is, generally speaking, a young, disenfranchised, i.e. poor, female person of color, generally speaking. And again, I'm not saying that white women don't get abortions, because obviously they do. I'm talking about, statistically speaking, what is the most likely person to need an abortion? It is someone who is young, poor, and generally a person of color. And of course, if I'm incorrect on that, I'm more than happy to have people correct me, but that is my understanding of the statistics. And the fact is that the very idea that a male, elderly, privileged, Harvard graduate law student in fucking Washington, D.C. should be telling a poor, let's say Latina, 19-year-old person who has never even voted in her life what she should be doing about a rapist's child in Texas. The idea that someone who is 75 years old, male, privileged, from a wealthy family, went to Harvard Law School back in the day, the idea that that person should be, it's always wrong. It's always wrong. Oh, it's a moral outrage.
Oh yes, moral outrage. Hey, you know who said that politicians shouldn't be involved in that? Reagan!
Wow, I didn't know that one. That's interesting.
Ronald Reagan said in one of his speeches, effectively, think for yourselves, people. Don't let a politician rule your life better than you can.
Yeah.
Reagan said that.
Well, maybe we should listen to fucking Reagan. I may disagree with him on many, many things, but he had a lot of good points too. And this is something that I wish that more people could understand the concept of nuance. nuance is not that difficult to understand.
No.
But apparently, when it comes to politics, people just throw nuance out the window. And what's sad is that not only are people not encouraged to understand the nuance of the situation, but they are actively discouraged. Did you know that if you go to a political consulting firm, a political PR firm, a firm that runs ads for political campaigns, they have a couple of different types of campaigns that you can do. They have campaigns to, quote, get out the vote. Or, campaigns that are pushing you and your agenda. They also have campaigns that are negative, so against your opponent. And the third type, that very few people even know is an option for political campaigns, despite the fact that they see it all the time, they just may not know the term. There are political ad campaigns specifically designed to get people not to vote.
That makes a lot of sense.
So, when you meet someone, as I have met many times, when you meet someone who says, what's even the point? Why do I even care anymore? Hillary and Trump, they're both terrible.
Just vote for Mickey Mouse. Those are the kind of people that go, fuck it, I'm voting Mickey Mouse in.
Yeah. The fact is that, yes, unfortunately, you are correct that your individual vote probably does not matter. Unfortunately, I wish that were not true. But in the system as it exists, one person's individual vote probably does not matter. But, you know what does matter?
What?
One person can go to all of their friends on social media. One person can go to a town hall meeting. One person can go on the local news and talk about their opinion. And the fact is, if your opinion can hold up to that scrutiny, and yes, you will get people who hate you for telling your opinion, no matter how much evidence that you have. You could have 17,000 pages of evidence that vaccines are effective. And someone will say, well, vaccines killed a baby! Vaccines killed a baby! And it's like, well, yeah, babies die sometimes. Unfortunately, that is just a fact of life. I wish it were not that way, but that is just a fact. Sometimes babies die, and sometimes we don't even know the reason. And it could be the same day that they had a vaccination.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that happens. That is a statistical certainty that if you do something to everyone, as vaccines should be given to everyone, 1 in a million or 1 in 10 million, you will have a very strange, weird occurrence. Literally a 1 in a million chance. And then people can point, for days and days, oh, look at this example, and look at this example, and look at this example, and look at this example. And it's like, well, yes, but there were 999,000 other infants that were not affected negatively by this vaccine. And so, my point is that, yes, you will get hated for voicing your opinion in the public sphere. But that is the way that democracy works. If you can go to your, 150 Facebook friends, and 10 of them, you can convince with your arguments, not with hate, not with, oh, you're an evil person for disagreeing with me. No person has ever been convinced of an argument by saying, you're evil for disagreeing with me. But, think about the gun debate. Think about how staunchly that you believed that teachers should be armed with guns. And in 1 hour, I was able to show you with facts and reason and logic, not
no, you
rhetoric.
just arm everyone else with a gun. Just arm every football player.
Unfortunately, that would be more effective. I still do not think that more guns in schools are the solution, but giving a gun to Granny Smith, who's been teaching for 42 years,
ain't gonna help shit.
Is a very bad idea, especially if Granny Smith says, I don't want a gun. Please do not give me a gun.
Yeah, ain't gonna fucking help.
And now you know that, based on
reason and logic.
The facts.
Yes.
And again, I could be wrong. That I am okay with being wrong. If someone comes to me with an argument that says, well, maybe it's not a good idea to give the 60-year-old teacher a gun, but if the 30-year-old male teacher who has a gun license, who has training with it, maybe it's a good idea to arm them. I don't know. If you can convince me with facts, then I am more than happy to be convinced. And the sad fact is that something like 90% of people in this country say they could not possibly be convinced to vote for any candidate other than their preferred party. That's crazy. How can we change anything if the fight is between a Republican and a more conservative Republican, or a Democrat and a more liberal Democrat? You're literally just preaching to the choir at that point.
Agreed.
Has anyone ever said, yes, I think that Congress should have a 5% approval rating. That seems healthy in a country that is democratically electing people. No. The fact, oh my, you made a Gigantamax Neo Pokemon. I love it. The fact that we can have a branch of government with a 5% approval rating is absurd.
And how the hell do these people keep getting elected?
Wonderful question.
Why do people keep electing these idiots?
So here is the reason why. Because they don't have a choice. And in a democratic society, that is suicide. That is suicide to the society itself. If supposedly you have a choice between two candidates, and yet there is only a 1% chance that the Democrat will get elected in Texas or the Republican will get elected in San Francisco. If that is the case, then you don't have a democracy. You have an oligarchy. And is that the society that we want to live in? A society where someone can be virtually guaranteed to get elected if they happen to be of the correct political persuasion? When someone like Mitch fucking McConnell can go into can be democratically elected, is what I'm trying to say, and be relatively, from what I understand, he came from a middle class or upper middle class family, I don't remember exactly, but he was not particularly wealthy when he entered office. And now he has over $15 million. $15 million. Where did that money come from, Mitch McConnell? Does that seem fair to you? Does that seem right to you? And by the way, this goes for both sides of the aisle, by the way, you keep giving yourselves more money and better health care. Does that seem right? That you should be able to give that to yourselves and not to your constituents? Oh, we can't possibly pay for it. There's no way we could possibly pay for it. Well, how about this?
How about you just, stop your bitching and moaning, figure out how to give health care for all.
Oh, it's a difficult problem?
No,
well,
it's not.
So is figuring out how to give the military $1 trillion a year. That's a difficult problem, but you goddamn figured it out every year for the past 100 years.
We gotta make sure our military is the most advanced. We've already done that. We gotta make sure that China isn't going to invade us, guys. Calm down. They can barely take Taiwan.
They can barely hold on to Hong Kong, a territory that is completely non-disputed. No one is arguing that it is not Chinese territory. The only thing that they are arguing is that they would like to have civil rights.
Guys, what are we going to worry about? Russia is going to invade us. They can barely take Ukraine.
They can. They're flying into Ukraine with airplanes that are using civilian GPS. Civilian GPS, not military GPS. Civilian GPS.
Guys. Russia. Oh, we're gonna dominate. We're gonna take over the world. You wouldn't want army.
Exactly.
We have advanced military technology. You're a second world nation. About to fall into a third world nation due to your own stupidity.
Yeah.
Seriously. Why? We're using unsecured and unencrypted cell phones. Obviously, they've been doing this. They've been doing this shit for so long. They don't know how to fight a war.
No, they don't know how to fight an offensive campaign. Russia has very frequently been on the defensive side of war. And what do you know? Fighting a gigantic fucking country in the middle of a fucking blizzard is difficult to do.
It'd be like okay. Anyone dumb enough to try and fight the United States on our own territory, you'll have to get through the Coast Guard. You'll have to get through our Navy, then the Coast Guard.
Yep.
Then the National Guard.
All of our police forces.
Literally all of our police forces. Any redneck with a... And then, once you've gone through all of our police forces, all of our firefighters, EMTs, then you have to get through the Boy Scouts.
Oh, God.
The Boy Scouts are... They sit in a weird position of they're technically active they can be called upon as active military.
Really? I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, it's one of the weird things about the Boy Scouts.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's literally never been used.
I hope it never will be used, but that is very interesting.
It's the same principles as during the invasion of Poland. A lot of Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts wound up on the front lines as well.
Oh, God. Ooh. That's a grisly thought, but I guess it was necessary. I don't know.
It was. And then you'd have to get through every single goddamn redneck that has a fucking fire.
You can pry it out of my cold, dead hands, Putin.
Again.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Again, oh yeah, you'd also have to fight the terrain here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Fight our local wildlife.
Fight the bears of Yellowstone. Oh, God, they're tearing up the tanks. Oh, no, they thought there was honey inside them.
God. And you'll have to fight through,
it's like canned meat.
An invading force would have to fight through as well, not just the terrain, not just the elements, not just the fact that, we're going to invade the Midwest. It's all flat. You know what the Midwest is good for? artillery.
Oh, God.
Do you really think an artillery... Okay, here's what won't happen. Oh, there's a huge armor column going to invade the capital of Texas.
Oh, God.
Wait.
Yeah, you would never, hypothetically, if an invading force reached the border of Texas on any side, it could be the Mexican side, it could be the Oklahoma side. I don't care. Good luck getting to Austin. Good luck. You would have so many goddamn cowboys with their mama shotgun. Not even cowboys and cowgirls with their mama shotgun. You ain't gonna take Texas from me.
Oh, you know that 200-mile long armor column that we spotted?
Jesus.
Well, it's for the carrying now.
Oh,
God sorted them out.
Oh, God.
We blew them bastards straight to hell. We didn't need a act of Congress. We just up and did it.
Jesus.
I rattled out my boys. We got little Timmy over there. We got Chuck over there. And we got... Chuck's got them high-caliber rocket launcher thingy-majiggers. And we blew them straight to hell.
Jesus.
Now, hey, look at that. We stole a couple Russian tanks. These things look like shit. You know what we use Russian tanks for? Training our people to blow them damn things to fucking hell because we're goddamn America. Do you really think whoever tries to invade us next? The last time the United States was at all successfully invaded was invaded by Canada, which was ruled by the Queen. And you know what happened? They burned down our Capitol building.
Yep.
But you
and
know
the White
what?
House. Yep.
They burned down the Capitol building. They burned down the White House. Hell, but you know
Those
what?
goddamn Canadians. I could fry some goddamn Canadian bacon right now.
You know, 100 years later, we made peace with them.
Yep.
And you know what else? The United States, we had an American Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
You know what happened? Yellow fever killed a lot more people than yellow fever. Starvation and generalized ineptitude killed more people than generalized battle.
That's true.
And thank you, Robert E. Lee, for thinking of civilian lives and lives that could have been lost. Thank you for surrendering. Good job, Robert E. Lee. There's a reason why you're a goddamn American hero, and if anyone says otherwise, you're wrong.
Interesting statements. I do not have the evidence to back them up one way or the other, but
Again,
I don't doubt you. I don't have evidence one way or the other.
Again, like I said, all Americans are American goddamn heroes, and if anyone says otherwise, they're wrong.
Well,
History,
there you go.
American history is American history, and there are dark parts of history.
That's
There
true.
are terrible parts of history.
Mhm.
We did make captive Japanese American citizens during the war. Was that wrong? Yes. Are there any monuments to it? No.
Mhm.
As it come up in does it come up in history in the books
Mhm.
for the United States in school or anything? No, because we're afraid of our own fucking history.
Yeah.
We're afraid. You know what? That's un-American.
Mhm.
Being afraid is un-American.
Absolutely.
Not being able to criticize your own president. That's un-American.
Yeah.
Criticize our goddamn president. Criticize him.
Yes.
Don't rise up. You don't need to. Vote these bastards out.
Well, and here's the thing. Here is I completely agree with you on almost all of these points.
Yeah.
And to add to it, if your government is not working for you specifically, if you look at your town, let's say the Rust Belt, or if you're looking at your town in, rural Tennessee or rural California, rural New Mexico, whatever, if you're looking at these places and you're seeing decay, you're seeing businesses leave
Societal rot?
Yes, if you're seeing opioid addiction, if you're seeing things like drug abuse,
Ask yourself,
if you are seeing these things, then the right thing to do, the moral thing to do, is to stand up to these entrenched politicians that do not need your vote to win.
no.
The right thing to do is to stand up to them and to rally your community and to say, we will not take this anymore. Because I guarantee you that if you, the listener, if you rallied 20 of your friends,
And they rallied 20 of their friends,
and you marched down to the goddamn courthouse in your county, and you had 100 people with you, I guarantee you they would listen to you. Because what elected official wants to have 100 people peacefully protesting in front of their office?
Oh, by the way, we have the most amazing invention mankind has ever come up with, and we use it in the most inept and hilarious ways some days. We have the revolution of the printing press in your pocket.
Yeah.
Use it.
Absolutely. Use it to create positive change.
There's a reason why Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, there's a reason why they want to get rid of TikTok. It's not because of Chinese spying. Please. The Chinese don't need another tool to spy on us.
Yeah. They own Epic Games, people. Like, if you have the Epic Store installed on your phone or computer, they have just as much ability to spy on you as TikTok could ever dream of.
Yeah, again, who cares if China's spying on you anyway? What are they going to find out? Oh, they know all this information and data. Who cares? They're going to use it to take over the world. Haha. Well,
it's just a scare tactic. It's, Chinese company spying on us is bad. Well, then uninstall Facebook, Google, YouTube,
Discord.
Discord has a lot stronger privacy protections because they're much smaller. Hold on. They're a much smaller company, so they have stronger privacy protections.
Well, the founder of Discord is very, very shady when it comes to private information.
Oh God, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oof.
On top of, Google's already attempted to buy Discord.
Oh yeah?
They turned Google down.
Wow. Interesting.
Discord potentially could become the next $1 trillion company.
I would be surprised, but stranger things have happened.
Because Discord makes all its money and influence by Tencent. Tencent owns part of Discord.
Oh God, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Of course they do.
So,
for any listeners who don't know, Tencent is a very large conglomerate corporation in China.
That works directly with the CCP.
I did not know that Discord was partially owned by Tencent. That is, that's very unfortunate.
Yeah. Again, the founder of Discord is very shady with personal information. They may say that they're... Like everything, there's nuances. Yeah. I personally don't care because, oh no, the world governments are gonna find out who the fuck I am. I'm a public figure online.
Well, and you see, here's the thing about private information. People say things like, well, if you don't commit crimes, then it's fine. But see, the thing
Show me the man, I'll show you the crime.
Exactly. The thing is that what is a crime to you or what is a crime in your country specifically is what I'm trying to say. What is a crime in your country is not necessarily a crime in a different country, or what is not a crime in your country can very well be a crime in another country. For example, if this podcast was popular in China, it would be illegal for me to say that Xi Jinping looks a lot like Winnie the Pooh.
Yes.
That would be illegal. Not just censored. It would be illegal.
But we like to mock our world. We like to mock world leaders here. We don't pull any punches.
Yes.
And as far as I'm concerned, Xi Jinping, if you're doing what I think you're going to do, you're gonna have a lot of blood on your hands. And if you're trying to kill more, if you're trying to save more people in a great leap forward, please don't. You're already successfully killing millions of your own citizens by keeping them locked down and starving them to death because you're terrified of COVID?
No, he's terrified of revolution. That's what he's terrified of. COVID is just a convenient excuse for him.
I know.
We've talked about it before, but, who knows if COVID was planned or not. I do not think that it was based on the evidence, but I could be proven wrong. But what it definitely was used by politicians to get more power. The power of a politician is only increased when there is an emergency, quote unquote. I look no further than one of my favorite film franchises, Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Jar Jar Binks had the one of the most iconic lines in the entire series of, "I wish to give emergency powers immediately to the Chancellor." Like, have you heard of this thing called the Roman Empire? That was how he took power. Was he declared an emergency, or what we would call declaring an emergency? It probably was different terms back then, but we would call it, declaring an emergency, and just the emergency never stopped, basically.
Yeah.
Once he had the power, he just didn't give it back. And what do you know? We've seen that repeat over and over and over throughout history of, oh yeah, it's an emergency. Oh, we've got this hyperinflation in Germany. Oh, what a shame. All this hyperinflation. This is an emergency. We'd better take power and make sure not to give it back.
Yeah.
An inflation emergency? Following a pandemic?
Yeah, they don't intend to give him the power back ever.
Oh. An emergency. Following a war, in this case World War I, and a pandemic, the Spanish flu epidemic of 1919. And then an inflation emergency. It's almost like it's happened before.
Uh-huh. History gets very boring after a while because it's always the same goddamn events.
And if you, the listener, if you do not see this happening, if you are too blinded by the pundits of the world and the outrage culture of the world, if you are too blinded by that to see that this has all happened before in this exact sequence, you are blind.
A little bit.
This is how democracy is overthrown from within with legal means.
It's almost like they want to ban guns next.
Yeah. Now, I am no fan of guns. I personally find them distasteful. That is my opinion.
I personally don't want to see only the police or only the military having firearms.
The thing is, why would we voluntarily give up our power?
We wouldn't.
No, that is American. That is goddamn American, if anything is. As an example, there are so many people all up in arms whenever militias are talked about in the United States. They're violent, they're evil, and all this, and it's like, well, it's in the Constitution that you have the ability to create a well-regulated is the phrase that is used in the Constitution, a well-regulated militia. A militia, specifically, in the context of the time, was a group of citizens ready to defend their country.
Yes.
Or, in their case, their state, specifically, but what we would now call their country. That was a militia in their time. And if someone comes along and is like, well, you can't do that. Well, it's in the Constitution. If you don't like it, change the Constitution. But the fact that people in America have the ability to criticize their government and have the ability to run for office if they do not like what is happening, you can't get more goddamn American than that.
You really can't.
It's we're getting close to the end of our recording session, since we can record 1 hour at a time on this app. But the thing that I see, and it breaks my heart, it makes me feel so despondent, is when I meet people, especially young people, especially people under the age of, let's say, 40, and they say, I feel hopeless. I feel like there is no way out of this situation. I don't feel like my vote matters. I don't feel like my life matters. That I've heard many people say these things, both on YouTube and in person, like just talking to people that I know. And I know that this is not just localized to Indianapolis. This is everyone, everywhere. Everyone feels this way. 50% of the population had symptoms of depression during COVID. 50%!
On top of the suicide rate went up, and the drug abuse problem went through the fucking roof.
You think?
Budweiser's stock went through the roof, by the way. Just say it.
The thing that it breaks my heart to see this, because if you truly believe that this is a hopeless situation, you have been lied to. You have been duped by the people who want to keep things the way that they are. Question.
Yes.
Who benefits if things stay the same? Who benefits?
Politicians.
Politicians, yep. People in power, specifically.
Uh-huh.
If you want to make a general term, people in power. People with money, people with influence, people with political power. Who benefits, I ask you, if someone, such as myself, runs for office and gets into the White House with the explicit goal to change things for people who feel hopeless? Who benefits?
Literally everybody.
Yes! Even the people in power! Even they benefit! And this is what drives me crazy. Oh, we can't possibly. It's impossible for us to give free college. It's impossible.
No, it's not.
Have you heard of something called the public school system? Where we educate every child in America for an average of $8,000 a year. And then we give out $5,000 federal Pell Grants, and on average several $1,000s in state aid on top of that. So you're telling me you can't run a college for the same price that we run K through 12? No, that is wrong. You're saying you can't do that. Are you stupid? Because if you can't do that, then how do you keep the schools functioning? And don't answer that question, because these schools are better funded than almost any other nation on Earth. And yet, we have worse educational outcomes.
Yes.
So, you're saying that we can't do better with the budget that we have? Because look no further than many European countries, many Asian countries, and you will find that that is simply not true. The issue is not money. The issue is will. The issue is drive. The issue is education.
Agreed.
And the fact that I would guess at least 50%, probably more, of the people that I talk to say, it's hopeless. It's impossible. It can't possibly change. Everything will go to shit. We'll go through a civil war. We'll go through global warming. We'll do all of these things. All of these bad things are inevitable. They are bound to happen.
We'll go through a civil war if we give everyone free education in college?
No. We will not.
As I turn my head confused and look at you, how stupid are you? Maybe you should go to college.
You think? It's almost like if you do things for people, for average people. I'm not talking about the rich, I'm not talking about the poor, I'm talking about everyone.
Mm-hmm.
If you do things for people that make them better educated, better able to get good jobs, better able to keep their health. Because health care is not about fixing people in an emergency. That is an important part of healthcare. But the fact that we spend such a huge percentage of the healthcare budget on fixing people in an emergency is wrong. Anyone can tell you that the most important part of health is keeping positive health throughout your entire life. And the fact that almost half the population of America is overweight, has heart disease, has high cholesterol. Soon, within the next few decades, 1/3 of the United States population will have type 2 diabetes. 1/3, a completely preventable disease. A disease that, if you live in the Amazon, if you live in Japan, if you live in Australia, very low incidence of type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
Now, in the Amazon, almost non-existent unless you have type 1 diabetes, which you're just born with. There's no way to prevent that. As far as I know. Japan, a country where obesity is a problem, largely because of fast food now, but it is not anywhere near the problem that is in the United States. And there are very few people in Japan with type 2 diabetes. Obviously, some people still have it, but it is much less common. And the fact that we look at our problems and we say, it's impossible, it can't possibly be solved. To me, that is ludicrous. When all of these other countries with similar demographics to the United States, all of these other countries are doing exactly what we want to do for less money. We can't do it. It's impossible. There's no way we could possibly find the money. Fuck off. And that is my soapbox for today.
I see.
Well, I don't know very many people who get as heated about statistics as I do.
No, I don't know anyone who gets as heated as you.
It's kind of funny. Other people get very heated about like sports teams or
No,
favorite...
we get heated about politics.
Well, heated about politics is one thing, but heated about facts and logic and statistics, that's my jam. And I'm very thankful for the listeners who have stuck with us this far. So if you are watching this on YouTube, please make sure to give it a like. Please comment on the video. And if you're watching this on iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast platforms, if you could give it a like and a review or a comment, that would be much appreciated. I have been your president of time and space, democratically elected, of course, Neil Fox. And
Link Labrador.
And Link Labrador's here. He's very distracted by Pokemon right now, but that is okay. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope that you have a wonderful day.